got some Mary in my backpack. Abstract sword, I got some pen and paper. Fit the whiskey, coke, berry flapjacks. Roll it up and put it to my lips, no need to pass that. So up in summertime, I undermine the underlying fact that I scrape pennies, but I want a dime. She's something else, I got it now. Well, yeah, my dude, she's something fine. And since I got a shot at her, they salty. I tell them suck a lime, I wasn't mine. Now I'm just clowning, trying to scrape a number. Smile after I take it from her. Copacetic today, but in 2 days disintegrate to bummers. I thought I won her over, but I just created blunders. The game I hate and love her. Thinking back to times of playing B because of breaking rubbers. I was a wild child and still extra. All these women still extra. I'm just trying to find an ill chick in a chill spectrum to make my broken heart feel better. Let the ship set sail off to adventure. Got some Mary in my backpack. Abstract sword, I got some pen and paper. Fit the whiskey, coke, berry flapjacks. Roll it up and put it to my lips, no need to pass that. Let the ship set sail off to adventure. Got some Mary in my backpack. Abstract sword, I got some pen and paper. Fit the whiskey, coke, berry flapjacks. Roll it up and put it to my lips, no need to pass that. Pass that. Pass that. Pass that. Pass that.
Welcome back, baby. Y'all know what the fuck time it is. It's Sunday. We just finished off a nice UFC Vegas 110 card. We had a couple boxing cards over the weekend. You're here watching One More Round Fights. I'm the host of this here channel. My name's Gaff. I do this shit every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I give you guys sometimes a Tuesday Dana White's Contender Series watch along. I'm out here, baby. I'm out here moving the fight sphere. All right. My name is Gaff. One More Round Fights. Don't forget to follow on all socials right there on that motherfucker. Whatever. Don't forget to follow on socials. Okay. As usual, scan that QR code, become a fan of the channel, subscribe. We're on our way. We're trying to get to 650. Please, if you haven't already, if you got a burner account, sitting, waiting, idly by, if you feel like making a burner today just to give me a sub, go ahead and do it. That's your good deed for the day. Okay? Scan that QR code right there. One More Round Fights. We're trying to get to 650, baby. So scan those QR codes, baby. Don't forget, One More Round Fights, main card minute. That's where you see us doing these UFC watch-alongs, watch and bet-alongs, where we be making money. Thank you to the main card, as usual, for bringing my prelim blunders some gratification after getting, absolutely destroyed on those prelims. So thank you for that. Scan the QR code so you can watch us live on main card minute, as well as One More Round Fights when we do our PFL and One Championship watch along. So please don't forget to scan that QR code. Again, we're trying to get to 650, mofos. There's a lot to talk about this week. Who's in the chat? Lazy's in the chat. Lazy's always in the chat. He's dropping emojis like a motherfucker. Loyal as all hell. Appreciate you, Lazy. Always in the chat. Gotta love him. A guy like Lazy. I mean, plenty of talk about this week. And I owe you guys a couple weeks because I have been gone for a couple weeks. I was missing. Had me on the milk carton and all that shit. I was in Virginia. I was in Orlando. I was in Atlantic City. It's been a crazy last 2 weeks, but I should be home a little bit more especially with these holidays coming up. So I should be giving you guys a nice, good fight slate. We got a couple things coming up too. We're going to do an Ask Me Anything on the Morning Combat Reddit. So don't forget to come on by for that. I believe I'm doing that November 7th. Let me just verify that real quick. That will be, yes, November 7th, and that would be 2 p.m. Eastern time. That is 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that will be 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm doing an Ask Me Anything on the Morning Combat Reddit. Don't forget to come on by if you want to follow my Reddit as well. It's, you one more round fights. Okay. And then we'll be doing stuff for New York City, UFC New York City with Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena. Me and Luke will be on site. We will be doing not a traditional version of our watch and bet along. We won't be live on ourselves per se. We will just have a live feed of where the fighters come and take interviews, but we will be active in the chat. So don't forget to still come on by, and that could be a nice little community for you guys to hang out while we're doing UFC New York City and doing our media obligations. So don't forget to come on by for that. But without further ado, Christian L in this house. Big Norm, haunt your dreams. I have no reason to hate on Big Norm, but she absolutely did not deserve that dubber, man. We got robbed. CP Units got robbed on Saturday. If you didn't know, now you know. CP Units was absolutely robbed. We had a cash. I even walked away going to Fide Oli at the time, and I come back to a big fat fucking L. It was absolutely atrocious. But without further ado, let's get into it. We got some MMA updates to talk about because I haven't been here for a couple weeks. Let's just do a little housekeeping, talk about things that I haven't had the opportunity to talk about in case you guys want to listen to my input. I know you don't, but this is more for me just to make this, on the record. Let's talk about Tom Aspinall defending his UFC heavyweight championship. Technically defended it. He didn't lose his title. The fight ended in a no contest. He got eye poked by Cyril Gane in one of the early exchanges after getting pieced up by Cyril Gane throughout the beginning of that fight, had him bloodied and bruised up early. And then Tom Aspinall kind of got saved towards the end of that fight because because Cyril Gane outstretched his hands, scraped across both his eyes, poked both his eyes, and looked like Tom Aspinall was unable to continue. Now, guys, I know some people are saying Tom Aspinall quit and all this other stuff. I mean, this is your vision we're talking about here. I know Waldo Cortez Acosta fought through his injury, but keep in mind the stakes were a lot less. He did not have gold attached to him. He wasn't already in a tough fight. Okay. I mean, the fight was already going Waldo Cortez Acosta's way, and then he got eye poked, and then he decided to go back into it because he knew he had the advantage. Tom Aspinall wasn't fully in the driver's seat and then got eye poked, possibly way worse than Waldo Cortez Acosta was. So by no means should we be chastising Tom Aspinall for taking the out and fighting another day. I mean, this fight can be set up again. He is the heavyweight champion. There is not a lot of competition up at heavyweight. There are a couple names, but the queue isn't very long. So I wouldn't be opposed to a rematch there. I wouldn't be opposed to Gane stepping aside for a fight, maybe getting another fight and then coming back, because obviously we know Gane is upper echelon of the heavyweight division. He beats a lot of these guys as well. So I wouldn't be opposed to Volkov stepping in and fighting Aspinall again or a rematch. But to be fair, Aspinall has rematches in his future. I don't see a lot of new contenders here at heavyweight, especially since his training partner just got fucking beat the fuck up. So yeah, Tom Aspinall, I think he did the right decision by pulling out due to an eye poke from his opponent. It wasn't like, it was his fault in any way. His opponent did that to him. So yeah, everybody's shitting on Tom Aspinall. I don't think it's warranted. Tom Aspinall did the right thing. Live to fight another day. He is the champion. You want to keep that belt, and that was his job to keep his belt, and he did it. So we'll see that matchup in the future, I'm sure. But yeah, It is what it is. Eye pokes. There's nothing to also. There's nothing to remedy these eye pokes. I know people are saying these gloves. It's always going to happen, man. It's fucking open, long extremities going towards your head when you're trying to block, whether it's with your hands, with your fists. I mean, something, whether it's an eye poke with the fucking corner of the glove. We've seen it with the corner of the glove too. So, there's not a lot we could do with these gloves. I know people want to change the gloves and all this. We changed the gloves already. It didn't do much but take away our finishes. Okay, let's just deal with it. It is what it is. The only other way is, what were we going to put fucking goggles on these guys? Like, shut the fuck up. The gloves are going to be what the gloves are. I know you can angle them up more or curl them down more, whatever it is. It's still going to happen. Maybe just not as much, but it's still going to happen. Also, Mackenzie Dern is the fucking champion. I told you, motherfuckers. CP Units cashed. Shout out to CP Units. Mackenzie Dern, baddest UFC champion we've ever had. Hell yeah. Shout out to Mackenzie Dern. She did exactly what she needed to do. She used her striking to be the better fighter, landing more damage. She used her grappling to stay out of bad situations, stay on top, remain in control. She deserved to be the champion. And she avenged a loss to she didn't avenge a loss. She already beat this opponent. So this was a fight that she should have handily won. And she did. Mackenzie Dern is our UFC strawweight champion, and I couldn't be happier. This is exactly who I thought should be champion. She is a more fun style. She does more for the promotion in terms of selling tickets, in terms of being bilingual, and having appeal to the masses. It just made more sense that Mackenzie Dern would be champion. And there's more interesting matchups for Mackenzie Dern. I feel like the matchups that we would have had for Verna, she's already had already. Or I feel like some of these girls definitely beat her. And with Mackenzie Dern, I'm really not sure. Like, imagine a Tatiana Suarez Mackenzie Dern fight. Oh my God, it's the stuff my dreams are made of. Like, come on, man. There's so many matchups for Mackenzie Dern as the champion. This just made more sense, and I'm so glad to see she became the champion. It's been a long time coming. She came into the UFC with this dream, and she finally achieved it. So shout out to Mackenzie Dern. Shout out to her team. Shout out to her family, and shout out to everybody that supports her. Brendan Allen defeated Renier de Ridder. Renier de Ridder quit on the stool. I know I didn't get a chance to talk about this. Yeah, I can't believe he did that. With all the stuff that he's done in his UFC fights, to just do that in his last hump before possibly getting himself a title shot, that was pretty crazy for me. To see Renier de Ridder quit like that. I know he came into the fight with an injury, this and that, but it wasn't like Brendan Allen was walking in there and just fucking hammering him with big, powerful shots. He was taking him down and peppering him. I mean, you could have definitely lasted 5 minutes under that. And if not, you could have at least tried to land the big knee, the big shot, the big elbow, the big something. Could have at least came out and tried, and then, maybe lost on your shield. But to just give up, not even give yourself a chance, that was wild to me. That stood out a lot to me, especially since we saw him quit against Anatoly Malikin in a very, very similar fashion. I mean, in that fight, he quit on the mat. In this fight, he quit on the stool. It almost looked like a mirror situation. It was, I mean, if that quit is in him now, who's to say it's not in him against more opponents in the future? I just don't like it. It's not conducive to being a champion. Brendan Allen's resolve is conducive to being a champion. Shout out to Brendan Allen with a fantastic performance. He went in there with a game plan to break Renier de Ridder's will, and he absolutely did it in every way, shape, and form. He did it striking. He did it grappling. He did it cardio-wise. Brendan Allen just marched himself right back into the title contention. So shout out to Brendan Allen and shout out to his team. He absolutely deserved that win, and he made his opponent quit. Also, Charles Jourdain on that card, subbing Davey Grant. Shout out to him getting a huge win. The Jourdain brothers are fucking killing it. I was going to do a fighter spotlight that week if I had a chance to. Now 2 weeks removed, there's no shot at it, but shout out to Charles Jourdain. He absolutely would have deserved it. Hopefully he gets a nice win in his next fight, and I could do a fighter spotlight then, because maybe it won't be too late by then, but we'll see what happens. Shout out to Charles Jourdain with a big win. And I also want to bring up the crazy reffing that we've seen over the last few weeks in a couple matchups. Like, not only crazy reffing, crazy judging, obviously. Shout out to Norma Dumont and Ketlin Vieira. But Crazy reffing. I mean, crazy situations, nut shots happening, points not being taken, um, time being given in weird ways, weird stoppages and continuations. I mean, fights that come to mind, the Malat Holland fight, the Dober Popolik fight, where Popolik was winning the fight, gets hurt with a nut shot, decides to continue in the fight, gets knocked out by Dober. You know, that was pretty stupid in a fight that he probably could have just taken the win there in a DQ because it was multiple fouls. But yeah, the Aspinall Gone fight with the eye pokes, interesting with the eye pokes, how it was handled. Waldo Cortez Acosta and Ante Delija was a weird stoppage, a continuation. We'll get more into that later. But that was another one. The Neil Magny, Jake Matthews fight, in which Matthews was supposed to get a win, and then they continue the fight, and then Neil Magny ends up getting the win. I mean, a little bit more on that. Jake Matthews had appealed that fight against Neil Magny, but the appeal has been denied. The commission issues a statement upholding Neil Magny's win at UFC Perth. So Neil Magny's win will continue on. There was no wrongdoing in that fight. And unfortunately for Jake Matthews, that L will stand. So yeah, if you guys wanted updates on that, that is the update on that. Ronda Rousey talking shit about Joe Rogan and also giving some strays to MMA fans. I mean, a lot of people have already, picked this down to the bone already, but Ronda's still failing to notice that she gave the MMA community no raft, no lifeline, no inside information on what was happening at the time of her losses and her comeback. So for her to be mad at the MMA community for always being involved in her career and always showing her love and then getting none of that love back after her loss and after her return. I mean, she fails to understand that we love fighters that can lose and come back strong from losses, like a Charlie Olives, like a Dan Hooker, like a Max Holloway even. Lots of these fighters come back from their losses and even stronger. I mean, you can't, and we still show them the same amount of love, whether they won or lost. So her point was moot, and her involving names like Chuck Liddell, and I forget the other name that she used, but those are fighters that we love because they came back and tried to fight it out and showed that they can take a loss and get a win afterwards. So I don't know. Her argument was kind of stupid, as per usual with Ronda. She still fails to see that, she shut the MMA community out. It's not like we shut her out. And that's why we have this weird feeling about her towards the end of her run when we used to hold her on such a high pedestal. I mean, she took herself off the pedestal. It is what it is. I mean, she doesn't understand what she did in that situation, but that's life. And then Gable Steveson getting a nice big knockout win, jumping over the ropes, doing Arthur Jones's celebration, giving a big shout out to John Jones, giving a shout out to, was it Mick Maynard in attendance after there? But yeah, Gable Steveson doing a big thing in his win, getting a nice knockout, showing love, showmanship, all the things, showing all pieces that you'd like to see in a budding MMA fighter, showing their personality, showing their showmanship, showing their grit, strength, finishing ability. It was everything. He showed the complete package. And yeah, he's still a little green, but man, we had CM Punk fight in the UFC, and he was way more green than Gable Steveson. So I could see him coming back real soon. And Brian Battle getting a nice big win in dirty boxing as well. Dropping his opponent to a knee and then finishing him off with a nice little uppercut there. I mean, he looks great. He doesn't look in the best shape, but he does look great. His striking is looking great. I don't think this is the best way to get back into the UFC, but he is showing remorse for the way he handled his past UFC run, and he is showing finishing ability and still going out there and furthering his fighting career. So I'm sure Mick Maynard was in attendance and noticed that. I don't know if they're going to bring him back per se, because we've seen in cases like this, they absolutely don't really bring guys back that they kind of drop for bad reasons, aka a Muhammad Makayev, a Brian Battle, a not to go to that extreme, but a Paul Daly. They don't bring these types of guys back. It is with Gegard Mousasi, even with all the shit he talked afterwards. And Francis Ngannou. I don't see a clean route back, but there is a route back for Brian Battle. So shout out to him getting a big win. Shout out to his team. He's staying active, and you love to see it. He's showing maturity now. Shout out to Davison Figueiredo for getting through a big car accident over the weekend. Looked pretty bad. I'm not sure the extent of his injuries, but glad to see that he's okay. Car got totaled, but hey, these are just things. Who cares? Those things are replaceable. You are not. So shout out to Davison Figueiredo. Glad to see that he's okay. Great UFC competitor, former UFC champion, and it'd be crazy in these motherfucking Brazil streets. I be hearing some shit about the favelas, bro. I be hearing some shit about some fucking drone bombs being dropped and shit. God damn. It's a fucking war zone. Is Brazil Iraq? Is Brazil the new Chirac? Like, what's up over there? I heard gangs are going crazy. John Jones was trying to ask for a fight with Alex Pereira, begging at Dirty Boxing to get a fight at the White House. Interesting. Also talking with Alex over social media, and Alex obviously responding, because a name like John Jones talking to you kind of don't ignore that, So that's a possible matchup in the future. I hope to see that. We'll see what happens. And to round out the MMA updates, Larissa Pacheco has officially left the PFL. She was a former UFC fighter on the roster. And she issued a message to the UFC earlier this week, insinuating that it was time to come back home. So the UFC could definitely use her if they decide to go forward with a featherweight division. I know Kayla Harrison might be tired of 35 and maybe wanting to go up. I know she wants to get a win back over Larissa Pacheco, who holds a win over her. So maybe bringing her back for a matchup like that, a la Alex Pereira, Israel Adesanya, something like that. That would be nice. So I'd love to see Larissa Pacheco back in the UFC. I like to see her calling her shot, and we'll see what happens with that. But that completes my MMA updates. Lazy says Matthews versus Magny fight 2 on and on, right? The list goes on and on with those fucking fights, man. I don't know. It's been questionable this whole freaking last quarter, I'd like to say. Everything's just been wonky. And I don't know. I don't know what the issue has been with the reffing, why things have been so crazy, why these pauses in action have altered these fights so drastically. I mean, multiple times it's changed the winner of the fight. We've seen it change the winner of the fight multiple times. Propolic was going to win a decision, gets knocked out by Dober. Matthews was going to win a TKO or a sub, a TKO, gets knocked out by Magny, or gets subbed by Magny. I forget what it was. Ante Delija was going to get a KO, gets KO'd by Waldo Cortez Acosta, like over and over and over again. These things happen. I don't know what the thing is with the reffing, but lives are being changed. Lives are certainly being changed, and not for the better. These outcomes are changing the way people eat out here. And we just got to do better. But without further ado, let's talk about the actual cards that happened over the weekend, shall we? Steve Garcia, TKOs, David Onama. Beautiful sequence, showing the motherfucking hands. Steve Garcia does what he does best. 14 KOs before this fight, make that 15. Steve Garcia gets a nice big TKO win over David Onama, round 1, 3 minutes and 34 seconds. And showcased what he can do at featherweight. I mean, Steve Garcia has been on an absolute tear recently, showing off that he can be exactly what Jackson Wink has wanted out of their camp. I mean, they haven't had a good prospect come out of Jackson Wink in quite some time now. Steve Garcia has been training there since 2013. He is now on a 8-fight win streak, 7-fight win streak. He knocked out Chase Hooper, Shalian Nerdebenkie, Makizio Costa, Choi Sung-Hoo, Kyle Nelson. He decisioned Calvin Kattar and now TKOing David Onama. I mean, all of these in round 1 or 2 as well. He is a absolute finisher. He even took a bout at lightweight against Costa. Okay, but Steve Garcia has showed that he could finish all these guys outside of the top 15 and fringe top 15. I mean, David Onama kind of, he got there. But let's see if he could take on these top 10, top 12 guys from here. He's got to fight somebody above him from here. Absolutely. I mean, Patricio Pitbull's an option. I don't think he'll get that fight, though. Gene Silva's somebody that really wants to get in there and probably wants to get in there with somebody that can throw some hands. He probably wants to get a knockout in his next fight. So I think Gene Silva versus Steve Garcia would be a perfect next fight. Also somebody that wants to throw hands, get themselves a nice win against a young upcoming guy. What about Josh Emmett? Josh Emmett versus Steve Garcia would be a fantastic fight as well. So I'd like to see either of those guys. I wouldn't want to see Steve Garcia move up the ladder too quickly because, again, there's still a lot of fucking talent up there. Brian Ortega's still up there. Yusuf Zalal, who's a training partner of David Onama, is up there. That's an option as well. But I don't think Yusuf Zalal wants to fight behind him at this point with his big win and how quickly he got it as well. And Arnold Allen, Aljamain Sterling, none of these guys are looking back. So Steve Garcia has definitely got to defend or fight someone near him. And Gene Silva with Josh Emmett, fringe 10, seems like the perfect next step for him. As for his losing opponent, David Onama kind of didn't show anything. He backed up the entire time. Didn't show his wrestling, didn't show his grappling, didn't show really any of his striking. He's got to fight either a fringe 15. I don't even think a top 15 would be good for him. I mean, I think Giga Chikadze pieces him up, low key. I think if Giga Chikadze gets another crack, pieces him up, low key. I mean, he beat Giga Chikadze in his last fight, Kansas City. It was a catch weight because Giga Chikadze missed weight. That could have been a factor in the fight. But I think if he got a second crack, the way that David Onama looked in this fight, I think Giga Chikadze would get that one back. So I don't think he should fight him again. Dan Ige might even be able to crack David Onama the way. I mean, if Steve Garcia can do it, Dan Ige might be able to do it too. So I don't like those matchups for David Onama. I think he should take on somebody like Nathaniel Wood. We've seen Nathaniel Wood get hurt. We've seen the grappling phase Nathaniel Wood for pieces of times in fights. David Onama is a good style for that. They would clash well. It would give Nathaniel Wood a nice opportunity to crack into the top 15 and maybe keep both of them in the top 15, whether Onama wins or loses. So, yeah, I think Nathaniel Wood versus David Onama would be perfect. They both fought recently. Their timelines align real well. That's a great matchup at featherweight. So those are matchups I see for both those guys. And it was a good fight. It was a good, solid main event on a very bad card. But shout out to those featherweights for showing out and giving us a nice first round fight. Well, at least one of them did. Otherwise, UFC Vegas 110. Lots of fights happened on this card. Lots to talk about. Let's get into it. A couple bonuses that were deserved as well. Shout out to Steve Garcia defeating David Onama by TKO punches round 1, 3 minutes and 34 seconds. Waldo Cortez Acosta defeats Ante Delija via TKO punches round 1, 3 minutes and 59 seconds. Very weird fight. Very weird fight because it looked like Waldo Cortez Acosta was in good control. Then Ante Delija puts him up against the fence, clinching. Lots of switching on the fence. Not sure who's winning the fight, but maybe Waldo Cortez Acosta is just slightly ahead. Then Ante Delija lands a nice 1-2, or so it seems, or so it appeared. Waldo Cortez Acosta starts to shell up. Delija lands a barrage of punches up against the fence. The referee stops the fight and seemingly ends the fight. Looks like a fight over round 1, Ante Delija TKO. Then they go to the replay. They see that it may have been an eye poke. In fact, it was an eye poke that Ante Delija first landed on Waldo Cortez Acosta, causing him to shell up and thus letting him land those barrage of strikes. So they continue the fight. And less than a minute later, Waldo Cortez Acosta lands a big strike on Ante Delija, drops him, lands a couple hammer fists, puts him out. And while he puts him out, he grasps his eye with another eye poke and is writhing in pain up against the fence. So instead of Ante Delija winning by TKO in round 1, we get a Waldo Cortez Acosta TKO round 1 finish. And this fight couldn't have been more confusing for anyone watching. Whether you're at home, in the arena, a commentator watching the fight, this was one of the most confusing fights I've seen in a very long time, and it is a fight that cost me a hell of a lot of money. So shout out to the refereeing again, doing the devil's work out here is what you're doing. Jeremiah Wells defeats Themba Gorimbo via unanimous decision in a role switch here. Usually we'd expect Themba Gorimbo to use his wrestling and his grappling to a victory, but it was Jeremiah Wells. After Jeremiah Wells dropped round 1 to Themba Gorimbo, he comes back in rounds 2 and 3, uses his grappling, lands the more powerful strikes, gets in top control, lands a bunch of strikes on Themba Gorimbo, and the judges see it his way, 29-28 across the board. Jeremiah Wells gets a big win. I thought he would get the win. He was a dog in this fight. I didn't think he'd do it by decision, but hey, people surprise you in this game, and that's MMA sometimes. Shout out to Jeremiah Wells. I knew he'd get his grappling under control, working with guys like Sean Brady, working with guys like Andre Petrosky out in Philadelphia. Shout out to them Philly boys and their grappling, helping Jeremiah Wells get up to par. I'd like to see what he can do. He's looking pretty good at welterweight. Themba Gorimbo was taking a lot of guys out with his grappling, and he seemed to out-grapple him. So if Jeremiah Wells can do that to other people or implement his striking that we've seen him knock out people like Warley Alves with, he's going to be a scary motherfucker, man. Even though he's 39, he could be a scary he could be the equivalent of like a Robbie Lawler when Robbie was still knocking fools around in his older age. Yadier Del Valle defeats Isaac Delgarian in a very weird fight as well via submission, rear naked choke, round 1, 3 minutes and 41 seconds. Weird thing with this fight, the line switched. Let's start this off by saying Yadier Del Valle was my pick before all this shit. Before anything happened, I liked him as a dog. I liked him to get the win. I liked him to get a decision win or a submission win. I liked Yadier Del Valle way before any of this shit happened, but 12 hours before the fight, the lines vastly changed in favor of Yadier Del Valle. Isaac Delgarian was a minus 270 favorite and nearly dropped down to plus 125, something like that, right before the fight. So fishy line changes. A lot of people putting round 1 finishes on Yadier Del Valle, insinuating that Delgarian may have been fighting with an injury, something. He may be throwing the fight. A lot of people saying he was a Krause fighter. He may be, a dirty fighter, maybe influencing fights, gambling odds, something like that. Also, people calling back to when he had an interview with, I believe it was MMA Junkie prior to the fight, saying that fighters should be owed money from the gambling apps because of the outcomes and something like that. Like, not a lot. It didn't paint a great picture for Isaac Delgarian, so things will definitely be monitored very closely from here on out. I don't know the repercussions from this fight, but I know some books were giving back bonus bets on that fight. Very interesting developments, and we'll probably be paying close attention to what happens because of the fallout. Well, we'll pay attention to the fallout from this fight because that was very interesting to see, and I'm happy that Del Valle did get his win, but I thought he was going to get it either way. It didn't matter what was going to happen in this fight. I believed in Yadier Del Valle. So don't take away from his win. Whatever Isaac Delgarian was going to do prior to this fight, what was going to happen, this was always going to be the outcome. Charles Radtke defeats Daniel Frunze via submission, rear naked choke, round 3, 4 minutes and 29 seconds. Charles Radtke looked very good in this fight. He looked good on the feet. He showed grappling. He stayed on top. He did a wrist ride very well on Daniel Frunze, beat him up, and then Frunze just gave him up the choke towards the end. That was the second very late choke of the night. There was one to start the night. We'll talk about that a little later. Alan Nascimento defeats Cody Durden via submission, anaconda choke, round 2, 3 minutes and 13 seconds. Cody Durden was looking good. This was a 130-pound catchweight fight. Cody Durden taking it on short notice because Rafael Estevan was the original opponent. He falls out of the fight. Alan Nascimento stays. He takes the fight against Cody Durden. Cody Durden looks good at first, using his gas tank, landing the better shots. Alan Nascimento couldn't find his rhythm. Then Alan Nascimento starts to find his rhythm, lands a couple strikes on Cody Durden. Cody Durden starts to have his mouth open. Nascimento lands a couple strikes again, grabs up that neck, throws in that anaconda. Durden tries to fight it off a couple times, but unable to in the end. He has to tap. Billy Elicana defeats Kevin Christian with another beautiful submission. Rear naked choke, round 1, 3 minutes and 33 seconds. Drops Christian, jumps on him, gets the rear naked, traps his arm so he can't tap with the other arm, and then he's on top of his left arm so he can't tap with that arm. He just ends up going out, and the ref has to just let Elicana slither off his body and turn him over because Kevin Christian is completely the fuck out from that submission. Beautiful signature win from Billy Elicana. I was absolutely sure he was going to get a finish because Kevin Christian doesn't go to decisions, win or lose. So it's definitely a showcase fight for Billy Elicana, and glad to see him get a big win here against an opponent that was 6'7". He was a big mofo. Dante Johnson defeats Cedricus Dumas via submission, guillotine choke, round 2, 1 minute and 25 seconds. Dante Johnson surprised everyone. Everybody thought it was going to be TKO. He surprises everyone with his first submission of his career, takes out Dumas in round 2. Dumas was looking good to start the fight, gets a big takedown, lands on top, starting to land a couple strikes on Dante Johnson. It's looking like a little bit of an upset. Dante Johnson comes out in round 2, lands big strikes. Cedricus Dumas doesn't want any part of it, does a couple dumb spinny moves, gets taken down, ends up getting choked. Norma Dumont defeats Ketlin Vieira in a fight that I would air on the side of robbery. I'm not going to lie. But the judges gave it a split decision, 29-28, 28-29, 29-28. Norma Dumont defeats Ketlin Vieira. I mean, Ketlin Vieira handily won round 1, beats her up on the feet, lands lots of leg kicks, then gets on top, beats her up in guard, flattens her out multiple times, almost finishes her. Comes out in round 2, makes it a little bit closer, does Norma Dumont, but I still give Ketlin Vieira that round. I still gave round 2 to Ketlin Vieira. Even though Norma Dumont stayed on the feet a little bit more, she was landing some bigger strikes, but Ketlin Vieira still was able to get her down, get some top control, and then she did more of it in round 3. I thought maybe Norma Dumont could have stole round 3, but even round 3, I kind of gave to Ketlin Vieira. So I was very surprised to see that Norma Dumont won this fight in the end. I was very, very, very surprised. I don't know if there was an agenda. I don't know. There's no way to appeal this fight. The judges are the judges, and it is what it is. Don't leave it to the judges. Is the only thing that you could do to remedy this situation. But man, I got a feel for Ketlin Vieira in this fight because I absolutely thought she won. But it is what it is. Alice Ardelian defeats Montserrat Cohenio Ruiz via unanimous decision, 30-27 across the board. It is what it is. This is what we always expected in this fight. Ruiz knocked out 3 times in a row in her last 3 fights and then loses a handy decision to Alice Ardelian. I don't think she's going to be in the UFC long. She might already be gone. But shout out to Alice. Big following on TikTok, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. Good for the UFC. So shout out to Alice. Suk Young Ko defeats Phil Rowe via unanimous decision, 30-26, 30-27, 30-27. I mean, Ko did what he had to do. He did exactly what he did against a good striking opponent in his last outing against Oban Elliott. He implemented the same game plan against Phil Rowe, got on his back, took him down, didn't let him get anything off on the feet, and won the fight, grappling. Shout out to Suk Young Ko. And Talita Alencar defeats Ariane Carnelossi via submission, rear naked choke. She was winning the fight handily. She was winning the fight handily in round 1. Round 2, Carnelossi was beating her down with leg kicks, had that leg hurt, and then somehow just got caught with a big strike and a knee, got taken down, got controlled, gave her away round 2 to her opponent, which effectively gave away the fight. And then round 3, just let her opponent do the same exact thing. Carnelossi just didn't implement any sort of game plan that would have been conducive to a win. Alencar gets so much control time that she sees the submission attempts multiple times. She sees that rear naked one more time. She says, I'm going to take it. I don't care if there's 25 seconds left in the fight. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to get a bonus for this shit. She didn't get a bonus for this shit. But yeah, that was the whole card. If you care about who got the $50,000 bonuses, it was Steve Garcia for his TKO over David Onama, Waldo Cortez Acosta for his TKO over Ante Delija, Alan Nascimento for his sub over Cody Durden, and Dante Johnson for his sub over Citricus Dumas. All deserved of their performance of the night bonuses, honestly. And shout out to those guys, because that was fun to see. That was fun to see. Let's see who's in these comments now. Oh shit, it's going off now. It's going off now. Lazy says, can't even bet on these fights anymore. The commission can just restart a fight until they get the result they want, right? Like what was that? Oh my god. You gotta win a bet twice to cash. This is why the either or bets is the best way to go. Because if you had fight and KO, then you're happy, because either or you were getting that Waldo Cortez Acosta or that Ante Delija win. Lee says, the most controversial fight since Derek Minner. We're going to be hearing a lot about this one. Major investigations occurring. Yeah, it has to be. I mean, Isaac Dulgarian, the evidence is just mounting more and more as we see between him talking to MMA Junkie and saying that fighters should get a part of the books. Him being a former Krause fighter, the lines changing, the criminally large bets being put in right before the fight started. It's just a lot of things. Tanner in the house. What up, Tanner? Bro, all I want is someone to talk about is how Waldo got a stool given to him during the timeout for a foul. Literally not allowed in this exclusive sport. That is a great point, Tanner. Great point that he was given a stool, usually only given to someone, after the fight is over, after they've gotten TKO'd. He gets the stool, he gets to sit on it, get an extra little rest, and then he gets to continue back into the fight and then finishes his opponent. I mean, if there's another no contest that should be investigated, maybe that fight should have just been no contest. We probably shouldn't have restarted that afterwards, regardless of the fact that Waldo Cortez Acosta was good to go. I mean, the fight was called off. Just make it a no contest and reschedule for the future. It's not like we really needed this fight. You just seen it with heavyweights last week, and that was a main event with a belt on the line. So that was crazy to me. That was crazy to me, Tanner. Lazy says, went to school with Krause, trained under Krause, fought out of Krause's gym. Too much Krause on that dog. Too much Krause on that dog. Ugh. Whole thing stinks. Yes, it does. Reeks. I know. Dulgarian was a solid prospect too, man. Sad to see it go like that. Melker in the house. Shout out to Melker. What up, gents? Hope y'all good. My Wi-Fi decided to go on strike right when the main card started, so I only watched the fights this morning. That Waldo fight was crazy. I was laughing my ass off. Yeah, probably because you didn't have money on the fight. Damn it. All right. If you had money on the fight, like me, devastated, because if Waldo Cortez Acosta if that fight went to no contest, I win a lot of money with Steve Garcia getting the win over David Onama. If Ante Delicia's TKO stands, I win $500. The fact that it started again and Waldo Cortez Acosta goes on to get that TKO win, it ruined almost all of my bets. It devastated me. So that was terrible. Terrible for me, Melker. Cosmo in the house. How many subs happened last night? Like 5 or 6? It was a shit ton, dude. It was a shit ton of subs. It was way more than I expected. That's why I put in my sub parlay that if Onama got that sub, I would have won $2,000. Well, I would have won $4,000, $2,000 on both apps. But let's see how many subs happened last night. It was 1, 2 on the prelims. Sorry, 3 on the prelims. 1, 2, 3 on the main card. Six subs total. 6 subs total. Cosmo also says Dante Johnson kind of goofy looking, but crazy. He was only 3-0 and got a contender series fight. Yeah, shout out to him. Not gonna lie, I could actually see a Norma splitty. I had Vieira winning 1, Norma winning 2 and 3. It was close enough to go Norma for me. I literally didn't see Norma win that fight at all, especially with how many times she was flattened out and almost finished. I didn't see Ketlin getting nearly finished at any point in the fight. There was a couple of times that Norma almost landed a big strike, but it was either glancing or she completely missed and was chasing her. Also, the leg kicks were landing really nice for Ketlin. I don't know. I just saw Kelly winning that fight. Update: federal regulators have flagged over 100 UFC fights this year for abnormal betting patterns, including 2 additional fighters on last night's card. Wow, lazy. Not liking this for MMA betting, not liking this for, our future. But it is what it is. Sometimes it's necessary. You gotta prune. You gotta prune these fucking flowers. Lazy says shit is about to get very ugly. Still working to confirm, but it sounds like the feds are moving to audit Herzog's fights. Oh shit. Why Herzog? Why Herky Jerky Herzog? Nah, not my boy, not my dog. Tanner says, where are you pulling that from, Lazy? Melker says, what are you, serious, Lazy? And then Cosmo says, Alan Carr looks jacked for strawweight and her grappling is good, but that striking is real amateur, real bad. That's why I was like, Carnelossi should be able to piece her up and win this fight. And she was laying a big leg kick. She was hurting her bad and then decided to like grapple with her. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You were just piecing her the fuck up. A couple more leg kicks, you would have finished the fight. That was crazy. Carnelossi, not UFC level, honestly. Maybe neither is Alan Carr. Lazy says, one of my media sources, reputable media sources. As soon as Caesars started refunding bets, shit got real. Yeah, that's how you know, because Caesars is very big. Very big. Tanner says this guy got the ins. Laughing out, well, shit, if that's true, that's a real fucking bummer to say the least. And then Cosmo says, Jason Herzog, he has kind of been shitty this year. Asterisk. I mean, he normally is great, but I guess, they're scrambling behind the scenes to do damage control. Oh, that's not good. I feel for anybody related to either side. Shit could get weird. She could get weird, y'all. She can get weird. Infrared says, damn, that's crazy, Lazy. I love your inside info. Yo, shout out to Lazy in the chat. Let's fucking go, baby. There is a Yahoo Sports article about it, says Infrared. And then Norma's fart box distracted the judges and distracted Henry Cejudo, I'm assuming, as well, Cosmo. And then Melker says, yeah, whenever I saw Norma kick the jiggles, distracted, so I could have played a factor. Yeah. So that was UFC Vegas 110. No fighter spotlight this week. Unfortunately, usually I come back with some heat fighter spotlight. Like, what was I going to do? Yadier Del Valle, first real fight. I can't do that. That's a little too early for a fighter spotlight. Charles Radke, bad look. Nascimento, catchweight fight against Cody Durden. Yeah, it didn't make sense. Billy O'Connor didn't make sense. Dante Johnson. It just didn't make sense this week. So, no. It was no fighter spotlight this week. Unfortunately, y'all, but it is what it is. We're going to come back stronger next week. Let's get into some boxing. All right, let's get into some boxing. Here's where the viewership drops. I'm just kidding. We had a light heavyweight showcase. Okay, light heavyweight showcase in Manchester, England. It was Joshuabuatsi taking on Zach Parker in a snoozer. It wasn't the greatest fight. Wasn't the most technical. It was light heavyweight. It is what it is. But Joshuabuatsi defeats Zach Parker via majority decision. It was 95-95, 96-94, 96-94. This fight by no means will blow your hair back, but it was a fight. High stakes. Joshuabuatsi is the winner. The reason this fight was high stakes is because there's a possibility that the winner of this fight will be fighting the winner of David Benavidez and Anthony Yard at the end of this month, November 22nd in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. So that's a possible matchup for Joshuabuatsi. So big stakes at the end of this one, which is possibly why both of these guys played it a little safer so they can guarantee themselves a big money fight with the winner of that fight, which almost certainly, no offense, should be David Benavidez Jr. Also, at light heavyweight, Bradley Rhea defeats Lyndon Arthur via majority decision. If you're looking for a finish, this is not the card for you. This was not the weekend for you in boxing, honestly, if you wanted to finish. But here we go. At light heavyweight, Bradley Rhea defeats Lyndon Arthur via majority decision, 114-114, 115-113, 115-112. At light heavyweight, Liam Cameron defeats Troy Jones via unanimous decision, 97-93, 96-94, 96-94. And at light heavyweight, Billy Denise defeats Ezra Arianka via points, 79-74 across the board. At middleweight, Stephen Clark defeats Jose Aguirre via points, 60-54 across the board. At super flyweight, John Tom Very defeats Brandon Gallardo Vargas via points, 40-36 across the board. At super bantamweight, Leighton Birchall defeats Wilbert Panton via points, 39-37. Luke Pryor defeats Eduardo Vero Sanchez via points, 40-36. At heavyweight, Bradley Casey, the only finish on this card, defeats Antonio Baravina via first round TKO. If you're looking for a finish, go watch that one. The heavyweights delivered. At light heavyweight, Leon Hughes defeats Pavel Garage via points, 40-36. And at super featherweight, Jermaine Diluayo defeats Cesar Ignacio Paredes via points, 40-36 across it. All right. And that's the Joshua Buatsi versus Zach Parker card. The light heavyweights didn't quite deliver, but the heavyweights absolutely did. Shout out to Joshua Buatsi. He should be fighting the winner of David Benavidez and Anthony Yard. And making history over the weekend, shout out to my girl, Mikaela Mayer. Always coming through. Mikaela Mayer just putting in work. Showing out for the ladies, as always. Mary Spencer and Mikaela Mayer fought for what? The super welterweight title, and it was unified by Mikaela Mayer. Mikaela Mayer unifies the super welterweight women's titles with a unanimous decision against Mary Spencer, 100-90, 98-92, 98-92. Mikaela Mayer did all Mikaela Mayer things. Got in her face, stayed on that jab, landed a nice cross, stayed very responsible with her defense, was the advancing fighter, put her fighter in the corner and just landed big blows. I mean, Mikaela Mayer just showed out as per usual, becomes a unified super welterweight champion, and also becomes a 3-division champion. Shout out to Mikaela Mayer. Making history, doing exactly what we expect of her, reaching new heights in boxing. And big win for Mikaela Mayer. On the undercard, Wilkins Mathieu defeats Shaquille Finn via unanimous decision, 98-91, 98-91, 99-90. Arthur B. Arslanov defeats Sergey Limpinets. Shout out to Frenchie. Limpinets via unanimous decision, 97-92, 99-90, 96-93. Mehmet Unay defeats Rouse Vilkins by TKO. Round 1, 2 minutes and 44 seconds. That was the lone finish on this card as well. You should go check out that. Mumel Anal. And then Christopher Guerrero defeats Williams Andres Herrera via unanimous decision, 97-93, 97-91, 98-92. Logan Clothier defeats Thomas Chabot via unanimous decision, 79-71, 78-72, 78-72. And Eric Israelian defeats Dylan Schroeder via split decision, 39-37, 40-36, 37-39. And that does it for Mary Spencer versus Mikaela Mayer. Shout out to Mikaela Mayer. Love to see her win. Lazy says, per DraftKings support, we are aware of the situation regarding the Isaac Delgarian versus Yadier Del Valle event. We will be sure to let you know if our team has further updates. AKA, we ain't giving you shit, but if we are obligated to, maybe we'll give you some fucking bonus bets, you fucking bitches. That's what I heard. That's what I heard that DraftKings just said by what they wrote there. You might have heard something different, but that's what I heard. I heard you fucking bitches. We ain't giving you shit. But maybe if our lawyers say we got to, fucking pussies. I'm like, all right, well, fuck you too, DraftKings. It is what it is. I made money on that fight anyways. Fuck your Delgarian bets. Fuck them. Anyways, let's get into the boxing cards that we got upcoming. I mean, November is going to be fucking fantabular. All right. Freaking Tanner goes, whoa, that's crazy. Yeah, but the boxing slate, it's not too crazy. At least we got fights every week. We got fights every week, baby. Every goddamn week. Here we go. November 8th, Fort Worth, Texas, on the zone. We got Vergil Ortiz Jr. and Erickson Lubin. 12 rounds for Ortiz's WBC Junior middleweight interim title. I will have a pick for you or two at the end of this stream, which is coming up soon. November 14th in Atlanta, Georgia on Netflix. This bout is in jeopardy, but it should have been Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis in an exhibition bout. I'm hearing possibilities of Nate Diaz filling in. I'm hearing possibilities of who was it? Of Edgar Berlanga filling in. There's a couple names that are possible to replace Gervonta Davis on the November 14th card, which is just under 2 weeks away. But we'll see what happens. There's also multiple title fights on this card. Alicia Baumgardner and Layla Bedouin, 12 3-minute rounds for Baumgardner's WBA, WBO, and IBF women's junior lightweight titles. There's a title fight between Gary Antoine Russell and Andy Hiroka, 12 rounds for Russell's WBA junior welterweight title. There's a title fight between Sugar Neeks Johnson against Amanda Guile, 10 rounds for Johnson's undisputed women's bantamweight championship. There's Yokasta Vile versus Yadira Bustillos, 10 rounds for Vile's WBC women's strawweight title. There's Anderson Silva versus Chris Weidman, 6 rounds at heavyweight on that card. So a lot of stakes. There's still got to be a good main event. So they definitely got to find a replacement for Gervonta Davis if he, in fact, cannot get himself to the fight because of his legal troubles. Yes, I decided to leave those legal troubles out of MMA updates because there hasn't been a lot of updates on it just yet. November 15th in London on the Zone, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Ben 2, 12 rounds at middleweight. November 22nd in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, David Benavidez, Anthony Yard, Jesse Bam Rodriguez, Fernando Daniel Martinez, Abdullah Mason and Sam Noakes, Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney, Subriel Matias and Dalton Smith, Arthur Beterbiev and Dion Nicholson. So many fucking titles are on the line in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Do not miss that shit November 22nd. Don't miss it, man. Don't miss it. There's going to be a lot to talk about after that. That weekend belongs to boxing. November 14th belongs to November 14th weekend belongs to the UFC in New York, because especially since this fight might, get swept under the rug, this Gervonta Davis Jake Paul fight with a replacement. But fucking November 22nd, my boy, that belongs to boxing. That night belongs to boxing. And December 27th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia as well, on the Zone, Naomi Inoue is taking on Alan Picasso. 12 rounds for Inoue's undisputed junior featherweight championship. And that's it for the upcoming boxing slate. I forgot to put the fucking lower up, didn't I? I forgot to put the fucking you guys know. Upcoming boxing notables, other boxing, you guys fucking know. All right. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. Who gives a shit? Okay? Who gives a shit? Yeah, we had the ladder challenge this week. It didn't work out. Ante Delia, we got fucked. We also got fucked on CP units. So, just great. Just great. I was going to do a social media segment this week. I'm not feeling it this week. It would have been great last week for after the Aspinall fight with all the things with John Jones coming out on the horse with the eye patch, with the fucking Tom Aspinall being a pirate for Halloween. It would have been perfect. But it is what it is. And then eventually I'll do the clowning with Gav segment, but not a good clowning week. As well. So we're just going to move on to my picks, okay? Picks on UFC Vegas 111. Picks on UFC Vegas 111. People, there's a lot of money to be made. We didn't make a lot of money this week. We actually didn't even come up with a green check this week. Unfortunately, we should have. We got robbed on the Ketlin Vieira fight, but it is what it is. UFC Vegas 111. I like Randy Brown in the main event, man. I roll with Rude Boy always. My Caribbean brother, Jamaica. Let's go. Randy Rude Boy Brown is long and strong. I feel like I feel like he's gonna do enough to win this fight. Way more experience. It's his time, man. It's his time to break into the fucking top 15. It's his time to make a title run. This is the best he's looked in his career. We absolutely need Randy Brown to show up on this night. Randy, this is the biggest fight. Honestly, this is probably the biggest fight of Randy Brown's career. He should have beat Brian Battle. He should be on a 5-fight win streak after beating Wellington Turman, Muslim Salikov, Eliseo Zalesko dos Santos, He should have beat Brian Battle in that split decision and knocking out Nicholas Dalby in his last fight. He is officially here, 20 wins, 6 losses. He's been in the UFC since 2016. This is almost going to be a decade in the UFC by next year. Okay? It is time to break into the top 15. Gabriel Bonfim has been here in the UFC for less than half of a decade. He's been in the UFC since 2022. He's been in the UFC less than 3 years. Okay? And he's already in the top 15. Randy Rude Boy Brown, you need to beat this man and break into the top 15. This will be Rude Boy Brown's week. Okay? This will be his week. This is his time. This is his moment. This is the time to do it. Also, I like Ricky Simone. I like Ricky Simone to beat Raoni Barcelos. Both big on the grappling. Ricky Simone definitely better on the feet. I like Ricky Simone in that fight. I also like Jamal Emmers. I like him to come back and get a nice win. Adrian Yanez. I love Adrian Yanez in this fight. Got to go with Adrian Yanez. And if you don't know, if you weren't watching Dana White's Contender Series with us on these Tuesdays these past few weeks, Josh Hokett. We're on the Josh Hokett money line. Hopefully it isn't too large, but Josh Hokett. And I kind of favor Denise Gomez to beat Tisha Pennington. I kind of like her, younger, more to fight for. I've been saying Tisha's about to retire for the longest time. I keep being wrong. Maybe it's after this one. I don't know. It is what it is. But those are the names that I like. Randy Brown, Ricky Simone, Jamal Emmers, Adrian Yanez, Josh Hokett, Denise Gomez. Those are all my names that I feel pretty confident in. Names that all have to do something this week. Okay, especially Adrian Yanez, especially Randy Brown. You cannot take a step backwards against Gabriel Bonfim. You absolutely can't, Randy. Can't get no more free, Randy. All right, we need to beat Gabriel Bonfim. I know he beat Wonder Boy. It was a split. Okay, Randy, you can beat this guy. You can beat him. Okay. And those are my picks on UFC Vegas 111. I got my Haitian brethren fighting Vergil Ortiz Jr. this weekend. So we got a fight between Vergil Ortiz Jr. and Erickson Lubin. Okay, and guess who? Yeah, you already know I'm on Lubin, all right? And if Lubin wins this, it's going to be a decision. I don't see him knocking out Vergil Ortiz Jr. Vergil Ortiz Jr. has never been knocked out. Vergil Ortiz Jr. has only let 2 fighters get to a decision. So if Lubin wins this fight, he's going to win this fight by decision. That is how you should bet on Lubin. Always attach that decision to Erickson Lubin. But if Lubin loses, it's more likely that he is going to get knocked out, and he's going to get knocked out late. That's how Lubin tends to lose. That's the only way he's ever lost. All of his losses are by KO. And yeah, so if Vergil Ortiz Jr. wins, it's probably going to be a TKO in rounds 6 through 12. It's going to be late. So those are going to be my 2 bets. Vergil Ortiz Jr. TKO 6 through 12 and Erickson Lubin decision. Those are my only 2 bets for the weekend on the boxing cards. And that's the only boxing card that we're going to be worried about. Okay. And that does it. That's it. That's my whole stream. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Go watch yourself some football. Go eat yourself some good food. Enjoy the day. I'm about to do some housework, some yard work. I got some new lights that I'm about to go place up. You know what I mean? I went solar. I didn't go with the 9-volt, the 12-volt. I didn't do the wired, nothing. I went solar. Solar's just easier. Freedom of placement. It's just so many more things. We don't have a lot of trees in the yard, so I'm doing a bunch of that shit today. I'm getting a lot of. It's not a Sunday fun day. It's a Sunday chores day for me. I hope you guys have more fun with your Sunday. But it is what it is. Enjoy the rest. We're trying to get to 650, guys. So please, if you haven't already, scan this QR code below. Become a fan. Become a subscriber to the channel. We're almost there. We're going to monetize soon. I just need to get a couple streams on the books. So if you can, keep the streams rolling. Just keep watching them. Put them on in the background. Do some shit with them. I don't care. Just get them watch hours up, because as soon as I get them watch hours up, we get some memberships going, get some emojis going. We got a lot of things that we could get going. All right, people? So don't forget. And don't forget to follow Main Card Minute as well. Scan these QR codes. Scan both of them. Subscribe to both channels. Show some love. Appreciate everybody that came through today. Appreciate everybody that's always showing love in the chat. Sponsors, hit me up. Stop being a bitch. Hit me up. I still need sponsors. I got no fucking sponsors. What's up with that? Hating ass bitches. All right. I need some sponsors. Okay. And Vert says it'll be Nate. He won't fight anyone dangerous. Respectfully, I hope Vergil Ortiz Jr. bodies your boy, and then we get Boots versus Ortiz. Well, that's why I'm hedging with that 6-12, but you know I got to put my Lubin bets in. Gaff, go, Pack, go. Hey, Packer cheese in this bitch. Shout out to Cosmo. Shout out to the Packers. You know I got love for the Packers. Shout out to Banky. Shout out to Packer Transplants and all those guys at Cheesehead TV. I'm gonna get some chores done outside too. Hopefully, cheers, fellas. Thanks, Gav. Cheers to you guys. Appreciate everybody that comes by and watches these streams. Hopefully, we become bigger and we can keep this channel going. I appreciate you guys. Enjoy your weekend, and I'm out. Meteor crashing in that earth. How my flow is hard since I was born. It's about time you notice. Smoke the bomb flower now. No, it's not the lotus. Cannabis, sativa, indica, whatever's growing. It's a self-prescription. I hope it's not in cursive. I read a fine print like Swiss. I'm subversive, not coercive and mediocre, cause I'm assertive. Put my way in the smoke sessions, now I'm assertive. Ash me out on the beat, I bet I get it high. Better keep the bass low. We drink, so get a case slow. But my eyes real low like Janae's. Mary Jane, Mila J, 3 sons and 3 a day. Rolling on my women in my white sheets. High, I don't care if any lowlights even like me. Why? I'm too crazy and indifferent to use Vice. I'm often spacing, tripping till this ain't a pipe dream. Bye.